What's going on, Jerome's? So when Minnesota Fighting Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins leaves and probably signs with the Falcons, question is, who's going to be at QB? Now, the draft is replete with future franchise quarterbacks, but the Vikings, it would make sense for them to bring in a veteran bridge quarterback, and the name that a lot of people talked about is Russell Wilson. All right, so recently released by the Broncos, they owe him $39 million guaranteed this year. They're eating $85 million in dead cap, and Russ can sign for the league minimum with his new team, which is the only thing that's like appealing about him. But yeah, a lot of Vikings fans talked about Vikings country. Let's go. Now, would it be the worst thing in the world? No, but I feel like Russ is looking for a spot where he can be the QB1, and here in Minnesota, I don't think that would be the case. I think that even if they sign Russ, they're obviously going to try and maneuver in the draft, find their quarterback in the future, potentially trading all the way up. So this may not be an appealing situation for him, even though you got JJ and Addison and Hockenson and Darisaw and Kevin O'Connell, etc. But the whole thing about would this work out? I don't know. I feel like we've run through the gong show of veteran quarterbacks, whether it be Archie Manning or Jim McMahon or Donovan McNabb from back in the day. Just that gong show of like the leftovers of, hey, this guy used to be good, so how about he signs with the Vikings? Nah. Break the cycle and move on. And there's a lot of movement on the Russell Wilson front as the Broncos. He is going to be released on the official start of the new league year on the 13th, but he's already doing the free agency tour. Rap sheet. A big hit on social media. Thanks for flying with us today, Danger Russ. I forgot that's his. I mean, Russ seems like an absolutely great dude, but I don't know. I feel like he's just. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but I can understand why a locker room is just like no. So Russ is fine, making the rounds. Schefter, this is going to take over from the guy at the Hertz counter at the airport. Photo taken Russell Wilson at Newark, which is in New Jersey, where the Jets and the Giants are, after he met with the Giants and before he flew to meet the Steelers. And Schefter also put this out. Before traveling to Pittsburgh today, Russell Wilson stopped in New Jersey for what one source described as an exploratory meeting with the Giants, per league sources. Wilson is in Pittsburgh today with meet with the Steelers, per sources. And also the ties with the Giants. So they're done with Danny Jones. They're done. They're finito. And could it be a spot where they ride out Daniel Jones' contract one more year? It's got some guaranteed money in it. Have Russell Wilson on the league minimum and also draft a quarterback. They currently sit at 6. I mean, do they take J.J. McCarthy? I think that he could be a dark horse in that spot. But Brad Spielberger, PFF, Giants passing game coordinator, coach Shea Tierney was at NC State as a student when Russell Wilson played there, became a grad assistant the year he transferred. So, of course, the connections from back in the day. And remember, Russell Wilson was a stupid Badger for 1 year. He was a mercenary. He's an NC State Wolfpack. Jordan Renan. Also, the head coach at NC State, I forget his name. Was it Larry Fedora? No. No. O'Brien? Doesn't matter. But he chose Mike Glennon, all 19-foot neck Mike Glennon, over Russell Wilson for his final year. It's great, man. Jordan Renan, ESPN Giants beat writer. The Giants are going to sign a quarterback in free agency. This would be a cheap option and contingency for Daniel Jones plus draft. It kind of makes sense if Wilson can't get a guaranteed starting spot. Now, I think Russ is going to look for a spot where he potentially could start. So maybe the Giants isn't as appealing. Steelers would make sense because they currently sit at 20 in the draft, so probably not in position to find themselves a tier 1 quarterback. But also you do have Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph, so I feel like he can make some hay there. Also, Schefter points out that Steelers and Giants have met with Russell Wilson. They're expecting there are expected to be more, including possibly the Raiders per sources. I think the Raiders sitting at 13 in the draft. I think Russ could see that as a really good spot. Plus, he gets to stay in the AFC West, and he probably thinks that he can beat Aiden O'Connell. That's really all. But basically, what it comes down to, I think I think that the interest is tepid and secondary. The Vikings are going to make one last effort to try and sign Kirk Cousins, but there will be contingency plans. And hell, even if they bring back Kirk, I think they still might sign a veteran quarterback like a Sam Darnold or whatever. But with Russ, I feel like the Vikings and Russ have each other very low on their list of options, right? So Russ wants to find somewhere where he can start. I don't think that would be here in Minnesota because the Vikings are in very good position to find their quarterback in the future. And I mean, Russ with the Giants, I feel like makes a lot of sense because he's going to beat out Daniel Jones and probably could keep a rookie at bay for a season. But here with the Vikings, I think they're all in on getting their guy in. Whereas Russ, whether it's the Raiders, whether maybe Pittsburgh, could find a spot for the next couple of seasons as he finishes out his probable Hall of Fame career. But either way, this is pretty good news for the Vikings. But your thoughts are thoughts. Russell Wilson making the rounds in free agency, but seemingly no interest with the Vikings. Good. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. So I'll support the work. Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.